Play is a very important thing in childhood. It is how they learn to interact with you, how they learn to interact with their environment. Children learn by doing, and so through play, they develop skills for life. So all children learn how to play very uniquely and at different paces. This video is going to look at how children typically develop, and you can use it to promote play in your child and kind of promote them to that next step to help them continue to learn. When children are born, they don't have developed life skills yet. It is something that takes time to learn. And so at a very young age, one of the first things a child learns to do is they used to learn their eyes. They don't have the coordination in their hand and in their arms to pick up toys and play with them. And so they like to look at things and just kind of move around the room and watch the things that are moving. So I just kind of have a red block and I've got my baby and I'm just going to move it around and the baby can watch it and they can just play around with that. A fun thing at this age is black and white books because children don't have, their eyes aren't fully developed. And black and white books are just a lot of fun and they can see the different designs and the different textures in those books. As they get older, they start to learn to reach out for the toys. They probably still aren't able to grab onto them and pick them up. And so you could take little things like a block that fit nicely into their hands and they can just grab onto it and hold onto it. And they will learn how to interact with that. During this stage, it's important to try and offer your child different textures, so fun things like this that just kind of to feel and to explore. Things that are soft or things that are a little rougher, like this tissue paper. They make noise, that'll be a bonus too. Around 6 months of age, a child is able to pick up toys. They're able to pick up toys in one hand or in both hands. So with that, they're able to grab rattles, they're able to shake them back and forth, they're able to pound them on the floor, and they're just able to explore them. They love things that make noise, because if they make noise, they're going to continue doing that to elicit that sound. Another way that children are learning during this stage is they're learning by putting things in their mouth. So the babies are able to put them in their mouth, and experts say this is actually good. Allow your child to put toys in their mouth because it's the way they learn, and it's how they explore things. The toys should be large enough that they aren't going to swallow them or have small pieces that could break off in your child's mouth, and they should also be clean. But over time, if they're continuing to do it after they're a year, 2 years old, talk to your occupational therapist and they can help you find ways to help your child stop putting things in their mouth because this can start to get a little dangerous. Another way children tend to explore at this time is by dropping things. This turns into parents' favorite game where a child will pick up a toy, drop it on their floor, and then the parent will pick it up, put it back like on their tray or give it back to the child, and in 2 seconds it's back on the floor. This is how children are learning to problem solve and learning cause and effect. Oh, so if I drop that, my mom's going to go pick it up and give it back to me. So it's fun for children to engage in and they can do it forever. Parents, not so much. Around 9 months of age, children have really started to refine their fine motor skills. They're able to pick up items in both hands, actually pick them up off the floor. You don't have to place them in their hands anymore. And they're starting to learn to coordinate their hands together. So a fun thing to encourage is to have them tack them together and bang them together. This will help lead them to clapping and some other skills too. Using 2 hands together is a really important skill we need as we grow and develop. So a really fun one at this age for parents is that children learn to take buckets and empty them. They learn to pour things out and they learn to make a mess. They also learn to take off their socks, and it can be quite challenging to have a kid around this age keep their socks on because they're starting to explore and they can reach down and they're starting to feel what it feels like to take them off. Another fun game to play with a child around this age is peekaboo using a small cloth or something they are able to kind of grab off. So if I have my baby here, I'm going to throw this over her face and say peekaboo, and she's going to learn to take it off on her own. Around the 11 months to 1 year range, all kinds of new changes are happening. They're learning to explore, their fine motor skills are getting more developed, and they're starting to walk. And so your child is learning to develop and grow, and it's kind of a fun age. So At this age, you will see a child learn to activate their toys. If they have a button on them, they will either use their hand to push down on the button, or sometimes they are even able to use just their pointer finger to push that button. You can also see them start to point to things in their environment. They're pointing to pictures in books, and they're starting to turn pages all by themselves in books. So they're starting to turn pages in cardboard books, I should say. If they aren't yet doing that by this age, it'll be really fun to sit and read with them, and then kind of slowly just lift up a little bit of the page and encourage them, kind of show them where to grab onto and say, turn. And that'll teach them to turn the page by themselves, and eventually they will be able to turn the page all by themselves. So in one of the last videos, we talked about how children are enjoying dumping things out. Around this age, they're starting to learn to put things into a bucket. And so you can help encourage them to pick up their toys by saying in, and then they'll place it in that bucket, because they're still learning and exploring, and it's still fun at this age. Another thing that they are starting to learn about is how to do shape sorters. And so they don't really know circle, square yet, but they're able to match it to whatever shape sorter you're using and say, okay, that's the same as that, and they can push it through there. By the time your child turns 16 months old, they should be engaging in all types of play. So whether that be pretend play by pretending to feed a baby, maybe they're pretending to feed mom, maybe they're starting to learn how to play doctor, just different games that they get to step out and they get to be someone. Maybe they enjoy playing cars and zooming across the table and across the couch, across their racetrack, or maybe they've fallen in love with a ball and rolling it back and forth, maybe starting to catch it. Just different things with that. That can be really good for helping to take turns and learning to share. Another good thing for kids this age to be working on is stacking things like blocks. They can stack up. By 16 months, they should be able to stack at least 4 blocks high without knocking them over. And another thing that would be fun by this age would be coloring. If they're exposed to this, they should be able to hold on either like this, maybe they're starting to get down here, and then they're just going to be making marks on the paper. Maybe they're making some lines, some circles, or maybe they're just kind of scribbling back and forth. As children continue to age, their play skills will continue to develop and get more advanced. They'll start to interact with other people, with people their age, with adults, and they'll start to play different games that have turns where they have to wait and take their turn, or that has specific rules to it. They might start to play games like Ring Around the Rosie, where they have to wait for a certain time to fall down. They might learn to play hide and seek. Their hiding spots probably aren't going to be so good around this age, but they are starting to learn, and they're starting to play with other people, which is really important. For more information on play development, please see the First Word project developed by Florida State University.